Good morning. My name is Cheryl Petrick. I'm the Secretary on the Steering Committee, and I'd like to welcome you to this session. So today we're going to take just a very short, brief amount of time to talk about a campaign that we started last year called the MPN Voice Campaign. We worked with Novartis last year at our Frankfurt conference in co-creating part of this project, and that was to come up with a video montage of the data that was presented in the landmark surveys. So Novartis came out last year and did some video clips. We'll get to see them today, and some of the people you will notice in the video clips were here last year, and some are not. But certainly, you'll notice them, and I'd like to thank those folks for participating in that video opportunity that we had last year. Today we're also going to share the results of the landmark survey through the video, and we're going to talk about how the MPN Advocates Network can help you in your communities. So we're going to provide you or help provide you the resources that will create value for your MPN community. And when I say an MPN community, I'm not just talking about patients. I'm talking about the entire community. I'm talking about physicians, patients, their family members, caregivers, anyone who is part of the blood cancer family is your community. So we're really looking at working collaboratively between the patient advocacy group and the physicians, or your community that supports your advocacy group. And in some cases, there may not be an advocacy group in your country, in your area. We want to help you establish that. We want to help grow that community. And we want to, for those countries that have established communities, we want to help you grow and grow bigger in your community. So it will be a conversation between us. We'll have dialogue where you can share with us what you feel you will need to help your community grow. We'll be talking about creating, sharing, and using or utilizing the resources that we can provide to you in serving the needs of your community, your MPN community. So we'll want to hear from you a little bit later on. And we'll look at some opportunities from the landmark survey, which the landmark survey, for those of you who don't know about it, asked patients about their quality of life. And it's provided really good data, very good data, on the quality of life that MPN patients face on a daily basis through their MPN journey. So at this time, I'm going to ask our AV technicians to cue the first video. I'm sorry, I was...
With the MPN community, Novartis conducted the MPN Landmark Survey, the first international survey to better understand the challenges of living with myeloproliferative neoplasms, or MPNs. This research identified the everyday burden of these rare blood cancer patients and caregivers across 6 countries. The Global MPN Advocates Network and Novartis talked with members of the MPN community to learn more about the real-world burdens uncovered by the survey. Across countries around the world, patients identified the common burden of fatigue, and they shared real-world examples of how MPNs impact the ability to complete their regular daily activities.
MPNs are real. They might not look visible from the outside, but they're a chronic illness, they're a chronic disability that you struggle to get through every day of your life. I try and put on a brave face and people say, oh, you look so normal. And I usually say, on the inside I feel about 90, so thank you.
La fatica era è diventata molto importante. Per me era difficile salire 2 rampe di scale, era difficile fare 200 metri a piedi. Fortunatamente negli anni in cui questi sintomi sono stati molto pesanti avevo un lavoro che mi permetteva di rimanere fermo, seduto, di non fare delle fatiche fisiche, ma avevo scarsa autonomia.
just feeling like you've been hit by a truck. Yeah, you need that support system.
La cosa importante è non vivere della malattia, ma bisogna convivere con la malattia, quindi cercare di avere una qualità di vita buona con la malattia.
מה שאני מציע לכל אלה שסובלים ממחלות המיוקרדיאטיות ב-MPN, שימשיכו בחייהם. החיים, אפשר לענות, להמשיך לחיות עם המחלה ולא לוותר.
Focus on today. Don't worry about tomorrow. Because today is what's most important. This journey is a journey, and everything that comes with it comes for a reason.
I don't know about you, but that inspires me and gets me, it hits me right in the heart. It makes me have the passion that I have. So I know this is a busy slide, but really we want to talk about sharing of resources. We want our MPN communities around the world to know that our patients are not alone, that it doesn't matter where you live, whether you live in the Far East, in Europe, Canada, North America, Great Britain, wherever, Australia, wherever we live, MPN patients experience the same issues in their daily life. They have the same symptom burden and they have the same concerns. So we really want to bring that global community together so that we're all sharing the same practices. We're giving the same information to our MPN patients, their families, their caregivers, and the MPN community in general, working together with our physician and clinicians. We really want to bring that full circle so that we are a community, a global community. So for some of you, again, it will be to help you establish a newly created community in your country. And for some of us, we already have well-established organizations in our country. So we want to help you expand those organizations in growing bigger and providing more value to your patients. How we'll do that is through different resources, whether that be on our website where you'll be able to access PDF files in your language, PDF files in the English language. You'll have access to the videos. They will be posted on our website after this conference. Through social media, how to create awareness by hashtagging and by using common language so that the MPN message is consistent across the world. So just to go over the landmark survey, 40% reported disease negatively impacted their ability to complete daily activities. And the most common symptom was fatigue. And I know for MPN patients, you may not look ill, but you really are not able to complete your daily tasks that you normally once did. It also highlighted, the data highlighted, that more than 26% felt anxious or worried because of their condition. The psychosocial aspect is so very important. When patients aren't able to get out and exercise, when they're not able to keep their mind occupied, when you're just sitting at home doing nothing and watching the television, your mind starts to wander. And that creates a lot of anxiety, and that then can lead to depression. So it's really important that we keep our MPN patients engaged and active to the best of their abilities. So taking charge of your own MPN, the landmark survey highlighted the differences in the treatment goals between patients and physicians and the need for increased education and communication. My belief that we really are a community. The patients and the physicians and anyone else involved in MPNs and diagnosing and treating, we are a community. So collaborating and working with our physician community so that they can understand how a patient feels on a daily basis. I can give you one example where a patient went to the doctor, and it was actually the patient was seeing a fellow, so a gentleman who was learning to be a hematologist, and he communicated to the patient and said, I see the numbers. And, I'm okay with the numbers. You're okay, relatively okay in that aspect. But how do you feel? And that's the opportunity for the patient to give the physician that psychosocial aspect, how I'm feeling with my fatigue. So we're trying to develop resources so that communication can be done with relative ease, such as perhaps an app, a patient app where they can track their information on a daily basis. And then when they see their doctor, they can go back and correlate the blood numbers and that data to how they've been feeling over the past 2 months or the past month and give their physician. So it's really about communicating and creating value for that very short period of time that you have with the physician or that the patient advocacy group has with the physician community in your particular MPN community. We're going to watch another video.
An artist spoke with members in the MPN community to better understand the real-world burdens revealed by the survey.
The vital aspect about an MPN is that at the moment there isn't a cure. So that causes a lot of anxiousness and worry because how is your life going to progress?
Being a caregiver for a patient who has an MPN is, I think, it's a struggle on one side because my husband sometimes doesn't look sick. And so I have the expectation that he can still do things that he would have normally done before having a diagnosis with this particular blood cancer.
È importante stare insieme perché fra pazienti ci si capisce, perché fra pazienti si hanno avuto le stesse esperienze, si sono vissuti le stesse problematiche e quindi i pazienti sono capaci di supportarsi a vicenda e questo permette di incrementare la capacità del paziente di essere resiliente alla patologia e di aprire quella che è una porta che la malattia ha chiuso verso il futuro, di riaprirla per potersi riappropriare della propria vita.
Til dere som er nydiagnostiserte, så vil jeg si at selv om det føles tungt og dere er slitne nå, så vil det bli bedre.
Know that you're not alone. Even if you feel like you're dealing with it by yourself, you should know that there are people in that exact same situation in another part of your country, in another part of your state, another part of the world.
Again, what doesn't pull at your heartstrings on that to really be able to tell the story of MPN patients? Again, I showed these videos to a third-party individual. She's a nurse. She knows nothing about MPNs except my own personal story. I wanted to get her feedback as an independent person. And she sat and literally was in tears. She was so impassioned. She looked at me and she said, "What can I do to help you?" So really, I think these videos will be such a great resource for our MPN communities across the world to help us grow, share, and develop our organizations and our communities. So now to the creating part. How are we going to utilize the resources and create the resources that you need for your MPN community? I have someone scribing all of the topics that you'll bring out. So I'm going to look to you to raise your hand and give us some feedback on what you may need as resources. We have a website, and we'll be expanding that website. We have a social media. We'll be expanding our social media presence. What do you need? Who's going to be the first one to raise their hand, or do I have to call somebody out? Who's a first-time group? Yes.
I really liked your idea of probably having an app that would help map out that discussion that a patient could have with their doctor about how they're feeling, or to track how they're feeling while they live with the disease, because it can change over time. And I know my dad lives with ET, so he was just diagnosed in September after his stroke, and things go up, things go down, and I think that's a great idea.
Absolutely. I think, the idea that I came, when I thought about a patient app, I mean, we are used to having patient diaries, but, we're so much now more into the world of smartphones, and who doesn't have a smartphone, right? It's an opportunity for the patient to be able to diarize that symptom or that feeling or that burden that they're having right at the moment. But then it's also going to create value for the physicians when they go in to see their doctor. They're going to have that data to be able to look at it and say, oh, okay, 2 weeks ago you were feeling.
Because I served in the Peace Corps, and we used ComCare. I don't know if you've heard of them, for collecting data on how to teach local healthcare workers on how to conduct malaria net distributions. And it can also serve as an international tool for collecting data as well, about like how someone's feeling on certain drugs or on certain in certain stages of their development.
Absolutely. And the unique thing about the app is that the information is still remaining with the patient. So if the patient chooses to share it with us, then that's their choice. And I believe that that's really important for that patient to have that confidence that it's their data, and if they choose to share it, then we would be able to have that database.
Hello. Oh, sorry. I'm from India, and my objective here, I've been invited for this NPN conference, is to establish the footprint in India. I'm part of the CML organization, and I believe on the app, probably also we could build on some few FAQs, especially for the caregivers and the newly diagnosed patients, so that, the fear of or the anxiety gets out of them. And these examples will be a great help for people like us who are going to start right from the beginning, because we know to establish this, both the patients and the treating doctors in India, I think, are not aware of having this kind of a support group, especially for the MPN, and I think that will be a great start for us. Thank you.
Excellent. Anyone else? And certainly, oh, yes.
Yeah. In Holland, Novartis came to us, to the MPN Stichting Foundation, and they are developing an app already. They asked if we were interested.
Yes,
so
we know that it's being developed, and we're working with Novartis to be able to fine-tune that app. So we know it's in the works.
It's in the works,
yes. Absolutely.
Okay.
Hello, I'm from Thailand. This is my first time. Okay, actually, in Thailand, so actually there is the group called the MPN working group, but it is for the doctor only. There is no patient group from Thailand before. So just 3 months ago, I have received contact from Peter to expand the network to Thailand. So I try my best, because I'm a 20-year CML survivor in Thailand. Okay, so I have some more experience in order to find out the group. Okay, so 1 month ago, I create the Facebook page for the MPN patient group in Thailand and set up the line group. Now we can correct it about 40 ET patients and some PV patient to the group, so we can have a chance to help each other about the fatigue or even anxiety. So they are quite so good now.
Excellent. So we can help share resources with you to get your Facebook group going and share the resources with your patients. Absolutely. Those will be things that we can assist you with. Great. Thank you. If you do think of anything afterwards, please jot it down. Either give it to me today or over the weekend or send it to us. Our emails are on our website. We would love to hear your feedback. So September is Blood Cancer Awareness Month, and September 13th is MPN Awareness Day. This year, we have a very small campaign going. We encourage you to do whatever you can in your community to increase that visibility of MPN Awareness Day. But be rest assured, next year we will have a great campaign for you to be able to utilize for MPN Awareness Month and for Blood Cancer Awareness Month and MPN Awareness Day. At this time, I'd just like to bring up some current projects that we're working on that we do need your help with. We've established a survey that will look at unmet needs and underserved patient populations. We are ready to go with that survey, and we will be distributing the link out to each of you to distribute to patients in your community. It's very, very important. This is a subsequent survey that will look at things past the landmark survey. We looked at quality of life in the landmark survey. Now let's look at unmet need and underserved populations and see where we can look at getting better access to treatment, best available treatments, and look at the underserved population and what part of the globe that's in. So we definitely need your help, and we'll look to you to get that link out to all of your patients and your community. We will also be engaging with the medical community, the physicians, the MPN physicians, to help bolster that dissemination of that link so that we can get it out. And we would hope that perhaps our industry partners will be able to help us as well. We also will be, if you hadn't received the email, we have sent out a expression of interest form or a nomination form for you to join the MPN Advocate Steering Committee or work on a project. So if you have such an inclination to join us and share with our passion, please fill out the form, get it into us, and after the conference, the steering committee will be meeting to look at our needs and look at adding folks to the steering committee and to work on our projects. At this time, I would just like to thank our physician community, our industry partners in getting the information from the landmark study and helping us grow, share, and learn with MPN Horizons and with our global network. And I'm going to leave you with the last video. Again, I hope you enjoyed the presentation. I hope you can see how passionate I am about my MPN family and how we can do so many great things for MPN patients. So thank you for your attention, and I'll leave you with the final video.
In partnership with the MPN community, Novartis conducted the MPN Landmark Survey, the first international survey to better understand the challenges of living with myeloproliferative neoplasms, or MPNs. By surveying rare blood cancer patients and caregivers across 6 countries, the research identified the everyday burden of living with the disease. The Global MPN Advocates Network and Novartis spoke with members of the MPN community to learn more about the real-world burdens uncovered by the survey. Unsurprisingly, around the world, patients and physicians identify the difference in treatment goals as a burden, revealing the need for increased education and communication.
There's a temptation on the part of the physician to be numbers-driven and to look at the overall picture rather technically in terms of controlling blood counts and controlling major complications. And in that, the physician can lose sight of the patient's daily problems. And I think it's important to have patient awareness that if the physician doesn't initiate this kind of line of inquiry, then the patient should at least be aware that he or she should be providing that information actively to the physician.
I think it is important to have an honest conversation with your doctor about how you're feeling. Otherwise, it's all too easy with rushed appointments and that sort of thing for the hematologist to concentrate on blood counts.
You get as much information that you can, obviously from reliable sources, and once you're armed with information, you're forewarned and you can make decisions about what is happening to you and try and analyze the sensations that you're having, the symptoms that you're experiencing, and put them into the context of your overall disease.
Reach out to others. Unfortunately, not all hematologists know everything there is to know about MPNs, and so getting access to genuinely world-class information is a massive thing for a lot of people.
Just seek out a support group. Since joining support groups and finding out information, I felt like I've got this second family. Patients should control the management of their disease because they're the ones living with it.